They don't teach you this. Who wrote the Bible and why is it so important? In the last few hours, a message has gone very viral and has generated quite a bit of controversy, and is that thousands of people believe that the Bible is sacred. They reveal the creation of humanity, its covenant with God, and the final judgment of both the living and the dead. This is part of the Old Testament, how it was narrated. Well, how to reach the first humans, how did they disobey God, and how were they expelled from paradise. Then comes the New Testament, the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. And it all ends with the Apocalypse, which narrates the end of everything and God's final judgment. Now, to be clear, in the first 400 years of Christianity, there was a lot of content about this. Purity that in the year 367 after Christ, the church made a pact and confirmed the 27 books. We're going to make up the Bible. Everything else no longer existed. Now, here comes the question. Who wrote the Bible? Well, there are 4 theories, according to the experts, and all 4 are equally shocking. It's the first time that the Bible was dictated by God. First theory says He dictated each word to those who wrote it. Thus, they are words of God dictated to men, and not just any kind of man, not the holiest man. Instead, the second theory is that God inspired men to write the Bible. In this way, both God and humans wrote these divine words. Such this theory is split into 2, the conservative and the liberal version. In the conservative version, the writers, they were inspired by God. So even though the Bible was written by human beings, every word was divine inspiration. But according to the more liberal second version, even though God inspired the writers were merely human after all, and they spoke according to their cultural context. Thus, God inspired them, but humans wrote according to their freedom and beliefs. That's how we arrive at the last theory, where the people who wrote the Bible went, and not God. Without any kind of inspiration, even according to historians, it has been discovered that although initially it was thought that the apostles, Matthew, John, Mark, and Luke, they were the ones who wrote several texts, were many of the texts actually written by anonymous people. And it would be only years later, even decades later, that it was said these anonymous writings had been written, were made by the apostles. Depending on the type of church, some texts are considered official while others are not, according to experts. The importance of who really wrote the Bible is significant, whether God dictated it to man, or rather, did God inspire man to write so with inspiration, or simply giving the message and human freedom to write it as understood. Even that it wasn't written by God, but simply by humans. The reality is that the Bible is truly very important and has guided thousands of people around the world for years. Its value is quite large, and its teachings too, but it has sometimes been used for peace and sometimes also for conflict. Today I ask you, who do you believe wrote the Bible? Hate? Or rather, did God inspire man wholly or partially? Or rather, they were written by men who believed in God. All of this has become very viral because of the dates we are currently living through, and because the significant BBC China released a report on this, clarifying the importance of the BB, but also the mystery behind it. Who wrote it? God? A man inspired by God? Or rather, a man trying to understand God? Leave me your thoughts. I want to know.